with an arena with 25, 26,000 fans in there?
I'm always a little jealous when there's a good fight happening. I think I'm, like one of those guys that like sees something and needs to get involved. But I'll be happy to be a spectator. It's gonna be a great fight.
Uriah, you warned recently, I think, in a certain interview you did recently, to possibly fighting your teammate TJ Dillashaw. Any change in the mindset in that?
I don't really want to fight TJ. I think what I said was I wouldn't fight him, but anything is possible in this world. But my stance is no.
And what's next for you? Because the next step is obviously the title again. So
Yeah.
Have you any plans? Anything you'd like to do, or change of a weight class if you're not going to fight TJ?
Possibly. I mean, there's a lot of exciting fights out there. So first thing I need to worry about is my next fight, and I think that's gonna kind of be a determining factor on a lot of different things. And we really have to have a discussion. If TJ and I sit down and talk, and it's something that we want to do, maybe we will. But I've had conversations with him. It's kind of strange because he's been we lived together. I recruited him. We've done, I brought him along the whole way, and it's a different situation. But
what was said in that conversation? Can you shed any light into what your conversation was actually like?
It was not pro fighting each other.
You're fighting Raphael. Obviously, you fought him many years ago. But what's going to be different this time?
I feel like he's gotten a lot better. We're at a different weight class. I feel like I've gotten better as well. It's a different fight, and this is a sport where anything can happen. I plan on beating him again. I'd like to get a finish again, but I know that he's going to have the same goals for me. So I think the difference is it's a different day, and we're different fighters than we were back then. So he's been on a big win streak. I've had a ton of wins as well, and it's going to be a great fight.
This time is on his home turf as well, and throughout your long career you have never fought in Brazil, even though you have a lot of fans and friends in there. What's that going to be like, fighting him in Brazil?
I can't wait. I freaking love Brazil, man. I will probably be on the beach, starving my butt off, looking at acai bowls and whatnot, but I love Brazil, and I'm curious to see how that goes. I know that he's got a big fan base over there. I feel like I've got a big fan base in Brazil as well. I'm assuming that they'll have his back a little bit, but I hope to have some cheers in the crowd as well.
I've heard you weren't really interested in fighting him, that you were looking at some other opponents. Is that true? And who were you thinking about?
I haven't been thinking about anybody, to be honest. I've been thinking about all sorts of stuff, and it hasn't been who I'm going to fight next. I usually do as I'm told in this sport, and somebody just asked if that's a fight that you'd want, and I was like, not necessarily like the fight that I want, but I'll take it.
Andy, this weekend obviously Andy Ogle is fighting against Amir Zakhani, but he's actually been out with you guys in Team Alpha Male. How did that come about, and how do you get on over there?
Well, Andy has been a part of the team from when I coached on The Ultimate Fighter, and always had an open invitation. And I think he just decided that he needed to make a change, and we welcomed him with open arms. He's a great guy. He works his butt off. He has a positive attitude, and he's got a lot of skill. So I would have liked to have him before he had the fights he's had prior, which kind of put him in a bad situation. But I'm looking forward to him doing a great job and getting a W.
Speaking of training, on CM Punk competing in the UFC and making his debut later on this year, what was your reaction to that whole situation?
I like it. I mean, does he deserve to be in the UFC at this moment? Not from his credentials, no. Will he, stand a great chance of winning? Probably not, but depending who they put him against. But who is anybody to tell someone else that they're not the toughest guy on the planet? If you look at any little kid and you ask him if he's the toughest kid in his class, and he says yes, and who do we tell him he's not? So if he believes in himself and he's willing to put in the work, he's willing to put his health and his reputation and his pride on the line, I say more power to the guy, and maybe he'll upset everyone and be the next champ.
What direction do you think you're heading in a division? Because you beat Assuncao you've knocked off a real potential title contender, and you know you've done TJ a big favour there without having to go forward and fight him. So what direction do you think you're on if you're going to be facing these top contenders but not fighting for the title?
You know what? I don't know. I got to first knock off Raphael Assuncao. He's going to be a tough task, just like he was the first time. I still think there's a storyline for him and TJ fighting because he has a win over TJ, and I know TJ'd like to get that fight as well. So, you know, it's not my fault we got all the top guys at our division. You know, we've been building them up. We got a lot of guys in our gym that are tough, and you know, that's part of the reason why we have the champion and the contenders and everyone else.
But does there come a day where you feel unfulfilled? I mean, let's say TJ goes on like a run. You know, he's got the title 5 years from now, and you're starting to get to the end. I mean, do you think, all right, I got to do it, man. I got to fight him because I want my chance at the belt?
You just have to understand my mentality. It's not, like I said, it's nothing I've completely ruled out in my mind, depending on, you know, how TJ approaches me, etc. But it's not like I'm not that guy, dude. I don't really, unfortunately, you know, that's a material thing to me. I know where I stand in my mind. You know, I think I'm the baddest dude on the planet. Always have. So I can live with that.
Is it more in TJ's mind that he doesn't want to fight you, or because you said you're a little bit more open to the idea?
I'm saying, I told TJ this a long time ago. The only way I'm fighting him is if he was like, dude, this is a big opportunity. We should do this. It's going to put a lot of money in our pocket, and like we have that discussion together. If he comes to me and asks me to fight him, I'll be like, all right, dude. But I mean, you know, it's a weird situation, like I said.
Could you go full speed? Like, I know, because the argument against it is a lot of people say like that wouldn't even be a real fight.
Before you go on, TJ is the most competitive person on the planet, and we can't get him to slow down in practice. So just for sake of not hurting myself, I would definitely be going 100%.
Speaking of training partners, my friend Jonathan Svensson has been spending some time over with you at Team Alpha Male. I also heard that he was staying at your house.
Yeah.
So what's your impression of him as a fighter and of the overall, now being here in Sweden, of the MMA scene here in Sweden?
You know, Jonathan, would you call him Jonathan? Jonathan. He's a very tough fighter, man. He's a guy that doesn't give up. He keeps finding a way to get back out to the camp, even though he's like going and working for a while and saving up money and getting injured and fighting every weekend. And he's going to have a great future in the sport. So I'm excited for him.
Last weekend, the AFC and the NFC Championship games took place in the States, and obviously your boss is Dana White's a massive Patriots fan. But who are you picking in the Super Bowl, the Seahawks or the Patriots?
Believe it or not, football is my first passion in life. I've been a huge football fan ever since I was a little kid, but I haven't watched it since I think I lost my virginity. So
how long ago was that?
It's a long time ago. So you know, I've had, you know, the task at hand. I don't even know who's in the Super Bowl right now, to be honest.
Seahawks and Patriots.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Niners next year.
Yeah. Can you talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on Conor McGregor?
I like Conor McGregor. I think he's a talented fighter. He's very good at promoting himself, but I don't think it's fake. I think that's his real personality. The guy, he's probably been, you know, in elementary school yapping off to everyone and probably got beat up a little bit more back then than he does now. But, you know, I think he's an exciting fighter. I think Jose Aldo is the best fighter in the world, pound for pound. He's beat guys like Frankie Edgar, Chad Mendez, myself. He's beat, you know, some of the best guys in the game, and I don't think that Conor's not in his league. I just think that Aldo's the better fighter, and I also think that I don't think they're coddling Conor by any means, but they're definitely keeping him away from guys like Frankie Edgar, Dennis Bermudez, and Chad Mendez for now, because it makes sense for him to have his best chance against another striker to possibly get the belt, because he's a promotional, you know, piece of gold. Guys, you know, he's a whole pot of gold.
Is there any Irish Muhammad Ali?
I don't know about that. I mean, Muhammad Ali was a very, you know, influential person for a lot of other reasons, just from being a great fighter. And right now, Conor McGregor has, you know, he can speak well, and he dresses like Pee Wee Herman, but you know, it's not because of his it's not because of anything that he's done that he's getting notoriety. Muhammad Ali was a very influential person. So
Does Urijah Faber fight for a title in 2015?
you know what? I feel like I'm always fighting for a title, man. I like to see the statistics of my fights that have been title fights, and you got to consider, you know, we didn't have pride in the UFC for my weight class when I first started. I was fighting in the Gladiator Challenge and the King of the Cage and TKO and the WC against the top fighters in the world. So most of my fights have been title fights. So I would say
Will we see another one though this year?
probably.
All right, thanks, guys.